A new trailer dropped at Paris Games Week that gave us a good look at the story for Insomniac's Spider-Man game for the PS4, and I finally got around to making a breakdown video. Here we go! It starts with Peter Parker and Mary Jane in a diner discussing the recent capture of Kingpin and how it opens up some free time for Peter Parker to stop Spider-Manning about. Given what we've seen in the past 3 trailers, I would venture to say that the capture of Kingpin is the tutorial for the game, as it seems it happens quite early in the story. The next run-in we have with him is at that skyscraper where his goons are getting mollywopped by the inner demons, as seen in the trailer for 2017's E3. We even get our first look at the man under the mask, Peter Parker. Looks a lot like Andrew Garfield if you ask me. I even did you a favor by looking for a picture of Garfield in a flannel shirt to really drive home the comparison. Peter is spending his free time helping at Feast, a homeless shelter run by Martin Lee. But, as is Spider-Man canon, Pete doesn't have all of his stuff together, and has some old lady asking if maybe he needs help from Feast. This looks like a playable area, which leads me to believe that not only can you go inside buildings, but you can also play as Peter Parker, and maybe some other characters that we'll get to later on. This newspaper clipping is a gold mine of information. Martin Lee is featured on the front page of New York's finest daily newspaper for his philanthropy towards the homeless population of New York City. Top left mentioned Fisk. Top right mentions the classic J. Jonah Jameson question, if the wall crawler is a threat or a menace, both being negative words trying to drum up negative publicity for Spider-Man. Bottom of the page clues us into another villain we'll see in the game, Shocker, and a mention of how Mayor Osborn is killing it in the polls. But did you notice that the paper is dated Monday, October 30th? That's the same day that the trailer was released. But there's no way you would be able to get the paper the day it was printed and then put it on a frame and hang it on the wall. This, as well as some other things we'll touch on, bring me to the conclusion that this game is taking place in 2018 in real time. Don't worry, I have more clues. We'll get there. Martin Lee, in all of his positive energy, an official introduction to Miles Morales, proving that he'll have more than just a cameo role in the game. Maybe he'll be a playable character. This is the first picture we've gotten of Osborn. Before, all we had were the re-election signs around the city. So I'm confirming that this is officially Norman Osborn and not Harry Osborn. Here's a good look at Wilson Fisk before they fit him into one of those extra large orange jumpsuits. Operation Devil's Breath. So this whole trailer really centers around this event. The epicenter is at Grand Central Terminal, which is where we see Peter and MJ later, and the subway car that we see Mr. Negative and Spider-Man fighting in later is the E-Train, which goes right by Grand Central Terminal towards Astor Place. This is also our first good look at Mary Jane. Peter's Spider-Sense is going haywire, and we see Mary Jane here holding a camera. In the Ultimate Spider-Man universe on TV, MJ and Peter both work at the Daily Bugle. Previous hints in these trailers confirm that we are going to be playing in that universe, or at least one very similar and based upon that universe. This explosion is at the Norman Osborn press conference. Check out my latest breakdown video here, where you can see Fisk, Osborn, and Martin Lee, and how they are all connected and why they all just hate each other. Police Captain Yuri Watanabe in the flesh, also known as Wraith. These guys don't have a mask on like all the other inner demons, so whose thugs are they? Are they Fisk's? Are they the goblins who we haven't seen yet? They're definitely not Martin Lee's Mr. Negatives. Ooh, inner demon money shot, baby! Here you can see that clock in the center of Grand Central Terminal, just confirming that we are actually there. The way the camera pans here and the framing makes me almost believe that you'll be able to play as Mary Jane, at least in this one sequence. And if it wasn't obvious in the first conversation, Mary Jane knows Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Roseman is probably a reference to Bill Roseman, Marvel Games Executive Creative Director. But how creative can you really be if you just put your name on everything? So here we are on the subway train I mentioned earlier, Train E heading to Astor, which ends only a couple of blocks from the New York Stock Exchange. Guess what? Concept art released earlier this year paints a nice picture of Mr. Negative and his goons blowing up the stock exchange, and in this trailer you see him driving by it. Coincidence? I don't know. I also think this fight scene takes place in the stock exchange. Now we get to see Pete's apartment in all of its glory. Note the wrestling poster on the left. Yes, that is correct. His first and only wrestling opponent was Crusher Hogan and not Bonesaw like we saw in the movie. It also says that it took place on August 11, 2010, which is a real date if you go all the way back to 2010. So he's been Spider-Maning about for about 8 years. The calendar is also the piece de resistance. While the newspaper earlier in the trailer showed Monday, October 30th, also the release date of this trailer, this calendar is actually showing October of 2018. Maybe that's a hint to its release date. And here you can see the New York Stock Exchange, as I mentioned earlier. And surprise, surprise, a sucker punch from Shocker. Still no release date, just a release window of 2018. We'll probably see more at PSX this year on December 9th. Crossing my fingers for a release date. I'm changing my guess now to maybe midsummer, late summer, October, around there. I don't know, but I definitely think, based on the clues that we saw in this trailer, that we will be playing the game in real time and that the game will take place in October of 2018. So we'll see what other news and information we get towards the end of the year. Hopefully we'll get a new trailer or a release date. In the meantime, go back, look through all my other trailer breakdown videos, find out some more information, leave a comment, leave a like, contact us on Twitter. I'll see you next time.